and there we sat. A pile of luggage at our feet, the car rental kiosk in front of us, cash in hand yet stranded. Months of planning, multiple deposits and reservations, and weeks of anticipation were all erased. The 2,000 miles of road we planned on traveling in our rental car seemed unreachable as we faced two options. Head back home now, or continue, missing 75% of the destinations we had planned on hitting, and taking a bus straight to our final one, which is San Francisco. Unless, what if we bought a car? What if by some miracle we find something on four wheels that can take us over 2,000 miles fully loaded with us and our luggage for $1,300? I spent that evening messaging people on Facebook Marketplace, searching dealerships, and researching the legality of our plans. In the morning, we start visiting dealerships. We met with Mike down at Tony's Auto World. You couldn't picture a more stereotypical used car salesman. Mike knew Brandon down the street, and Brandon's girlfriend was selling her car. So we come back a couple hours later and check that out. Solid dead end. So we checked out another dealership, and we test drove an '01 Nissan Sentra. While none of us felt secure, it was our best option. I spent about 5 minutes inside filling out paperwork. Very official. And we were on our way. On track to continue the trip. We just have to head back to the hotel and get our stuff. We almost made it. Almost. We break down at this intersection, literally right next to our hotel. We managed to pull into this gas station with the last rotations of our tires. We're sitting there diagnosing it to the best of our ability when a man walks up. He looked homeless but harmless and a bit out there, I'll say. And he very loudly and confidently was saying that we need to put water in our battery. So we look at each other, go buy the water, and put it in our battery, but no start. He says we need a jump. Looking at me, he said, "Let's go find one." First, he starts yelling across the parking lot of the gas station. No luck. So we head across the street to a thrift store. Once again, his voice carries past those intended to hear and around the store. No luck. Side note, at this point my anxiety has shifted to humor as I just follow this guy around and I'm smiling to myself. We walk across the street to an old gas station, and as we cross this crosswalk, he's touching people's hoods and asking everybody waiting at the light for jumper cables. Well, we get across the street and no luck again, but as we're walking back, I see a Jeep pulled up next to our Nissan, and they gave us a jump. Our watery battery came back to life. Our vocal savior, Barry, got his $20, and we get the car back to the hotel parking lot. We decide to let it run to charge up our battery, and just as a couple smiles begin to creep across our face, it dies. Again. We devised a plan to call AAA, found a garage close by, and made sure that they could help us. The next morning, Corey and I wait for the tow truck. He asked to see if the car will start so he doesn't have to tow it. Somehow it does, and even though we knew it would break down, we agreed to let him follow us instead of giving us a tow. When we pull into the mechanic, Corey goes to check in our car, but is told that they are too busy now. Anyway, we find another mechanic and we try to drive there. We break down on the highway. Big surprise. We call AAA again, and guess who it is? Yep, it's the same guy who told us to drive behind us instead of giving him a tow. He takes the car, and we walk up this steep highway shoulder, clinging to the bottom of an overpass so we can find a street corner to call an Uber. Another Uber. The car gets taken to the new garage. We spend $475 on an alternator, and besides the bad brakes, speed wobble past 60 miles an hour, shaking while it's idling, and the check engine light being on, the car is perfect. So we decide to drive that bitch 1,500 miles through the redwoods. No, like through the redwoods. Over rivers and mountains, edges of cliffs and fast food drive-thrus. Hour-long sections with no service as our beater wobbled down Highway 101 and finally into refreshing campsites or hotel parking lots. We donated the car in San Francisco because no one wanted to buy it, but honestly, I wish I could have drove it back. With our top speed being around 55 miles an hour, 60 if you're ballsy, it's safe to say we didn't make great time. Half of it we weren't even having a good one, but I wouldn't trade those experiences and memories gained for anything, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat.